Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Sound the alarms, hit the cash register. I don't know what you want to do. Tell your grandma, but I just locked in an absolute killing on Tesla. If you haven't paid attention to the markets recently, you might be missing out on the fact that Tesla stock is ripping. It is squeezing in real time. And on that trade alone, I locked in a lot and I ended up managing a couple other positions, which I'll be explaining in this video. And finally, for the first time this calendar year, I locked in a 6-figure gain in one single day. So obviously, I want to be breaking it down. I want to let you know what I was seeing, what I was paying attention to, and how I managed the trade. But obviously, you could also argue that's a little bit of water under the bridge. So if you're watching this, what I really want you to be paying attention to is really what I'm seeing for the coming future. Because obviously, in the market, you make money on what's about to happen, not what just happened. So that's going to be the key major breakdown, an overall Tesla analysis and price prediction. But obviously, the TLDR is this. I've been calling it out for a while. In fact, I've been screaming it from the rooftops. So if you're watching this, I hope you got yours. I hope you made as many tendies as possible. Before we get to all of the nitty gritty of the video, if you haven't already, don't forget to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. The engagement really does help get this video in front of other people who might enjoy it. So even if you just want to comment to say hi and don't forget to smash that like button, it truly would help me out. With all that being said, let's roll the tape. So in an effort to prepare this video, I find myself thinking about a couple of quotes from a book that I just finished reading. How to Stay Humble When You're Always Right About Everything. Obviously, I'm just joking here, but it's not so often that I get a call this right to such a magnitude. So hey, just let me gloat a little bit because I'm sure in a couple days, in a couple weeks, I'll make the worst call ever. So let me just have this win. If you don't know what I'm talking about, this should help it out. S&P 500 rises after Trump's positive comments on China trade talks and gain in Tesla. So when they're talking about the S&P 500 rises, they're talking about the fact that we hit a new all-time high. Very important. Same thing in the NASDAQ. And Tesla, even though it didn't hit a new all-time high, the recent gains have been monstrous. So yeah, I'm going to let you know that I've been telling everyone for a while. Shorts RF, that was related to Tesla 3 days ago. Price prediction, Sunday night before the market opened. Price prediction, open Palantir and Tesla. These stocks are set to skyrocket. Prepare yourself. Talking about a new all-time high. Folks, I've been calling it out before it happened. So like I said before, I very much hope you got yours. S&P 500, as I'm filming this midday, Monday, September the 15th, we did clock a new all-time high. Same thing with the NASDAQ. The day's not over yet, but we already hit a new all-time high. And in reality, the market in a general sense is good. Yeah, there is a little bit of weakness in the healthcare sector, but you're going to notice the belle of the ball, the one that is the most green, goes by that ticker symbol TSLA. And in real time, it is looking awesome. Right now, up 3.7%. At one point today, it was as high as up 7.5%. It closed out the day at 396 on Friday. At one point today, trading as high as 425, 426. And the reason for this recent pop, like the gap up, was right here. Elon Musk's $1 billion stock buyback adds fuel to Tesla rally as analysts cheer the sign of confidence. Folks, this is a big deal. The last time Elon, with his own cash, bought his own stock was in February of 2020. So a lot of people are thinking, man, if he's doing this now, and if there was one person who really knew what was going on in Tesla, it would be the guy leading the company. The fact that he put $1 billion, I'm not saying million, $1 billion of his own hard-earned money on the line, well, obviously that's going to get people pretty excited. And honestly, it makes me very exciting for the upcoming quarters, the upcoming months, because I think the fact that if you lay out $1 billion, you're pretty confident about what's going on. And obviously, I'm not the only one thinking that way because Tesla closed out the day 395. We popped up to 430. Right now, it's a little bit of profit taking. We can see that in the options market, but this is just the recent move. I want to let you know that this thing's been on the move really for all of September. At one point, we were trading at 325. We hit 430 this morning. As in 1 month, we've gained over $100. So larger than just him buying $1 billion, which is over 1 million shares. This is what's going on. Why Tesla's board wants to make it rain for Elon Musk. there's been a couple, 2-3 things going on that is bullish, and guess what? A couple sprinkles of even more bullish. So right here, we have one positive thing. Clearly, the board is putting out a large effort to keep their number one asset, Elon Musk. On top of that, interest rates are about to be cut, and you're going to have certain companies such as Tesla that are interest rate sensitive. Remember, when people are buying cars, you're generally not buying it outright. Generally, you're getting a loan. So when loans are cheaper, when money itself is cheaper, a lot of companies are going to benefit, and clearly Tesla's going to be one. Right now, there's about a 90% chance of a 25 bips rate cut this week. We're looking at that on Poly Market. We're seeing that also on Kohrs. So clearly, interest rate sensitive companies such as Tesla are going to benefit. And then when you add on this third thing, such as the leader of the company putting $1 billion on the line, it's no surprise that everyone gets very, very excited about these gains. But that doesn't mean everyone in the world is excited. I can actually name one specific person who's most likely super bummed about the fact that Tesla is making a lot of people a lot of money.
Saying on my phone, I don't know, some of you know this on the iPhone, they've got that little stock app. I added Tesla to it to give me a little boost during the day. 225 and dropping. So
nothing like cheering on your own constituents losing money. Remember the state that he leads? Well, their pension fund happens to own a lot of Tesla. And what was that? 225 and dropping? Well, that's a bit awkward because I'm seeing a number that starts with 400. So with all of this, you might be thinking, okay, I get the interest rate sensitive thing, and I get the fact that the board is going out of its way. How could we have predicted this though? And in reality, the brutal reality is you can't. But what you could do is look at where the big money is beforehand, and that's what I've been stressing. Let's go back to September 8th. I want to remind you, I'm currently filming this on the 15th, but on the 8th, last Monday, a week ago, there were gargantuan bets for the $400 strike. Gargantuan, monstrous. And all of a sudden, at that point, we were trading at 350, and yet people were confident enough layering it up on all the monthlies, September, October, November, and December, saying we're going to get to 400. And guess what? That's exactly what happened. I should let you know that at this point, if I fast forward to today, it has changed quite a bit. Now there's between 395 and 405, a lot of weird structure. High vol point is 450. So the structure has completely changed, and that's actually part of the reason why I've already decided to lock in. Here's my play if you're missing out on it. On September 5th, 360 long calls, expiration date September 19th. You can see I bet about $12,500. That was the size of the bet. And then I got out today, obviously on the 15th, for about $92,500. So I cleared $80,000 in this one trade. I was in for 10 days, a 650% return, just that 80K. And then if you're curious about where the other 50K has come from, when I said at the start of this, 6 figures, I actually made 130K. Everyone on the live stream saw it this morning. It was because of the overall market. I also happen to have calls on the S&P 500. So I decided to lock all of those in today. And that's really what I want to get into this for Tesla. Where do I think it's going? All right. This is going to be the brutal truth, but when it comes to the market, I'm a guy who runs on stats, facts, and figures, and when you see a gap like this, the odds of a downside gap fill, because we gapped up, are very high. The market, for whatever reason, you could refer to it as a phenomena, loves to test the untested areas of supply and demand, and that's exactly what the gap is. So we have a gap down to 396.69. So in the short term, I'm not talking about investors. If you're an investor, you have a multi-year outlook. You don't care about the intraday movement. Of course, you want it to go up, but once again, doesn't matter. As a trader, you should pay attention to the fact that, yeah, this downside gap fill is more likely to get filled than not. So I just want to put that out there. But more important than that is where we are. As I've said multiple times, I'm filming this on the 15th. We get an FOMC decision on the 17th. Volatility contracts expire on the 17th. We have not only a monthly expiration, but it is a quarterly, as in a quadruple witching expiration this Friday going into OPEX. And right now, it is an 11-to-1 ratio of calls to puts in the overall market, as in when we hit Friday, that is going to be a huge expiration where a lot of the positive gamma that is adding stability to the overall market is going to disappear. So in reality, I would argue that right now the waters are murky. When I saw a 6-figure gain this morning, of course I'm going to lock it in because I know we are getting into choppy waters right here where there's really not clear direction. I don't know what the Fed decision is going to be in terms of the commentary. I know it's going to be at 25 bips. I don't know how the market's going to react to vol expiration. I don't know how the market's going to react to so much positive gamma disappearing. And then remember, at the end of the month, we have that giant JP Morgan collar position. So right now, I love the play. I love the setup. If I had expiration for October, November, December, I would be sitting. But I had been mindful of the fact that mine expires this Friday. Once again, if I had more time, I'd be sitting pretty. I'm a trend following trader. I wouldn't get out because the trend is still evidently bullish. But the fact that mine expired this Friday and there's a handful of major events that are about to break, well, take the money, wait for an opportunity to get in on a dip, and then just reload for the next ride. So what am I looking for? What's my official price prediction? Well, in terms, I don't really have an actual number. I'm looking for a certain structure. I am looking for a 3 to 5 bar setup that almost looks like a V. You see right here how this one was clearly like that center of the V. I'm looking for that in Tesla after this downside gap fill. It might happen right at the downside gap fill, but I'm not going to give you a specific number because I don't think that's how markets behave. Maybe it happens right there. I know the odds of the downside gap fill are strong, but I'm looking for a V-shaped recovery, a V-shaped recovery, a V-shape, a V-shape. As soon as I see that V-shape, I'm going to load back in. And this time around, I'm going to be looking for maybe even farther out. So I have the opportunity to ride the play for even longer. So I know that I'm telling you this is a price prediction, but in reality, sometimes trading is a little bit more of an art than a science. And I can't give you those exact levels, but I wouldn't be surprised if it happens exactly plus or minus a couple of dollars from 400 because of the current option setup. Once again, just to show you that there's a lot of gamma at 395, at 400, and at 405. So here's what you really need to know in a nutshell. Tesla is exploding with strong price action, momentum, and options flow due to the fact that interest rates are about to be cut, which is going to help the company. The company itself, the board, is doing everything in its power to retain Elon Musk, and it was just announced that Elon Musk is going to buy $1 billion worth of his own stock. All these things together stoke a lot of investor and trader confidence, and this is what happens when you basically have a full-on gamma squeeze. Everyone YOLOing into calls, and then all of a sudden the market makers have to buy the underlying, i.e. Tesla stock, to hedge out their books, and it just keeps going and going and going. And because of that, that's how I was able to get a 650% return, locking in $80,000. And I decided to do that because my expiration was this week, and later on this week, there were things that I had to pay attention to. Moving forward, I'm still absurdly bullish in the short, medium, and long term on Tesla. I just need to wait for that perfect opportunity, almost sniper-esque, where I'm looking for that V-shaped reversal off of a key level, most likely going to be around 400, and that's exactly the point that I'm going to reload. And in all reality, I know that we spent most of this talking specifically about Tesla, but I'm kind of looking for a similar situation in the overall market, including the Nasdaq. Right now, we just hit all-time highs. I already locked in my money. I don't want to chase at a new high, so I'm going to be patient, sit back, and wait for that V-shaped setup where I can lower my risk and obviously optimize my reward. But clearly, these are my own thoughts and opinions. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree, and that's exactly why I would love to hear from all of you in a comment below. Are you waiting on Tesla? Are you still riding? Are you adding? Are you betting against it? And I would even love to hear your thoughts on the overall market. But that's what I have for you today. I'll catch you in the next one. Like I said at the start of this video, I hope you're absolutely crushing it, and I appreciate all the good vibes.
Peace.